Hi, this is Paul Hitchcock, founder and president of Giant Jacks Media, where we are helping other businesses to grow and stand out. Thank you for joining this episode of Giant TV. Really fired up to have Sean Murphy on the show, who is an expert in all things mortgage. There's so much going on in that industry that all of us can learn and be on top of, and Sean's going to break it down. So let's go jump in. Hi, everybody. This is Paul Hitchcock. Welcome to Giant TV. I'm the founder of Giant Jacks Media, where we are helping others to grow and stand out with their businesses. And in my business, I get to work with a lot of really great entrepreneurs. And Sean Murphy, my guest today, is one of those people. Welcome, Sean.
Hey there, Paul. Nice to see you today. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Sean, I just want to get into this. You're in a very interesting industry, the mortgage business, and of course this touches most people across the country. And so I'd love to hear about how you got into the business, and then what's going on with your business today, and would just love a little background there.
Sure, thanks. I don't think I never trained to get into the mortgage business. I mean, I was a finance major in college, but I went off and did all kinds of different unique businesses before I got into this.
Santa Clara, right?
Santa Clara University.
Right.
And so I was a golf pro at Club Med. I worked in the radio business.
Oh, that's a tough job.
Hey, somebody had to do it. And at that age, I could do that.
Right.
But I moved on and did event marketing, sponsorship, worked for KBR Radio, all kinds of interesting jobs. Then a high school buddy of mine, one of my best friends, was in the mortgage space, and he said, look, you want to get into a real career of real estate, it's going to be here forever. I'll train you. I'll get you up and running. In 2003, I made the leap, from that event marketing space into the mortgage space, and have been here ever since.
What was that ramp up like? I mean, that industry, was there a big learning curve when you started out?
So my only experience prior was the purchasing of my own home and refinancing of my own home, and how that went. But he trained me up in terms of all the nuances on getting started. I worked for a company that's no longer with us now, but it was a great training ground because in that days, 2003, 4, 5, was still huge refinancing opportunities, and so it was busy. And so I learned, and I had to jump right in and learn this business right away.
What were what did you find out when you first started were the skill sets that you have or anybody needs to have in order to do well at that business?
Listening is a big part of it. Everyone's got their own situation. Everyone has their own issues. What is it that's specific to them? What are they looking to accomplish? Mortgage itself is just a financial tool to help them achieve their own wealth goals and their own financial goals. So you got to listen and hear what they're saying, and you got to learn to communicate and make sure that, this is a huge deal for each and every person on their own way. And so how do we help walk them through the process for a successful outcome?
Yeah, I would imagine that is very important because people have choices. I mean, there's a zillion choices. Obviously not everybody's the same, but what separates you is being an empathetic listener. I know you. We've known each other for years, so I imagine that comes in handy.
Yeah, and the other thing too, Paul, is just the education side of it. There are so many different ways to go. It's a blank sheet of paper. Where do we get started? And just be able to say, look, you don't know what you don't know, Mr. Borrower. I'm going to help educate you and teach you of here are different options. Here's side-by-side comparisons. Want to make sure that you can make a solid financial decision that benefits your family. And so that's, and if I lose a client because I overeducated, that's fine. I'm okay with that. Next. But I do want to make sure that I'm educating them because it's such a big decision for them.
Right. Yeah. They're going in. And so when somebody becomes a client, then Is it a matter of, as the landscape changes, that you're kind of staying in touch with them and advising on what's happening?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the whole CRM, drip marketing, keeping in touch, a lot of the stuff that you're advocating are huge.
Yeah,
And that's a foundation for a client for life.
right,
People clearly, this is a transactional business. I'm in for a mortgage to purchase a home. I bought the home. Well, I'm done.
right,
But okay, maybe 3, 4 years ago down the road, I want to refinance. Rates are
right.
lower. Take advantage of that. It's another transaction, but you got to keep them on the hook and let them know you're there for them down the road, and to be of service so that they'll come back.
What are the major decisions when somebody's looking at buying a home, whether it's the first time or trading up? What are there a few things that stand out as, okay, here's what we're covering when it comes to choices?
So, yeah, I mean, I think that you take into account their financial position. I mean, it's income, it's your assets, it's your credit are the key foundations as far as mortgage decisions. But what is it that you're trying to accomplish here? Do we have kids going off to college? Are we looking at retiring and downsizing? Are we looking at new kids coming into the folds? Because I want to fix up the house and do some sort of remodeling. So all those different elements have to come into play to be able to say, well, you haven't thought about this. What about this? And
Right.
so, oh, geez, that's good information. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what's happening in the market right now? I mean, big picture, as you're working with clients, uh, what are the hot issues happening right now? I mean, is it a busy market? Is it insane? What's going on?
Yeah. So, ever since COVID started, March of 2020, for whatever reason, I mean, just the way the economy works, interest rates started to drop dramatically. And for all of us who are in the lending space, the business was, I call it manna from heaven. I mean, people are coming out of the woodwork, hey, I want to lower my rate. I want to take advantage and being able to refinance. That timeline of March of 20 through probably December, was huge as far as refinances. I think the industry did over $4 trillion
Whoa.
of mortgages.
Wow.
That's with a T.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was a huge. I mean, I think the year before, and please don't. If my numbers are off, I
Right.
apologize.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
I think the year before that, it was probably $2 trillion worth of business.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
doubled in one year.
Yeah.
And so every company, doesn't matter if it was ABC Mortgage up to Wells Fargo, Quicken, Guaranteed Rate Affinity, it was just a huge, push for getting new people in the positions to help support those loans coming in, help get those loans funded. It was a big, huge challenge throughout the
Right.
industry. I think
Right.
we doubled in size in one year as far
Yeah.
as
The firm
head count.
head count. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it
So
is it has it been is it more challenging to go through the process of getting a loan, after the meltdown and COVID? I mean, I don't know. I mean, is it what's it like
it's,
now?
you know, um, that's usually a lot of people look at it and just say, oh man, I don't want to go through this again. It's so paperwork intensive. It's a big pain in the butt, but it's definitely improved insofar as a lot of companies are going digital. You can
Mm,
do an online application. You can upload your documents from your computer straight into their secure portal.
nice.
So you're not dealing with that paperwork issue. In fact, I don't have files.
Right.
All my
Right.
files are in the cloud,
Yeah.
and
Perfect.
which is great. And so you make it easier for the borrower. You make it quicker, and turn times. They're happier. They're looking at, okay, this is a great experience.
Yeah.
You need to help my friend or my family member.
Yeah. How are you growing, Sean? I mean, your business. How you meet new people? I mean, I know, I sort of a rhetorical question. I know the answer because I know you. You're a master networker. But for those listening, how are you growing your relationship with realtors and so forth?
Yeah, I mean, it's thanks for asking. I definitely enjoy being around other people has been a challenge for me, being locked up at home for the year with COVID, because everybody had to go remote. Yes, the business was there because people were calling in. So it would have been more challenging if I had to do outreach. But networking is key. I've been involved in my community for years with the local Chamber of Commerce, and then getting involved. The company I work for now allows me to sit in a real estate office that has over 180 realtors that have their license here. So I'm able to connect with them on a regular basis, helping them for their clients, get good information out, timely updates. And I'm involved in other business networking groups as well that allow me to connect with financial advisors, with estate planning attorneys, with other key folks that are helping people, and I'm just part of that partnership with each of them.
Are you still doing BNI? Because I know you were doing that for a while.
I did BNI for a long time. I think it was 7 years, and then have since moved into a new networking group, Provisors.
Oh, right. Okay.
And that's been a huge win for me, just in connecting with incredibly talented professionals throughout the West Coast. And now it's just growing all over the country.
Yeah. I heard a rumor too that you played tennis. I don't know if that's true or not.
I give it a try.
Another way to network, that's great.
Sure, absolutely. Try and keep active. I mean, I got to get out from under the computer and, get outside. And so tennis and golf are two key hot buttons for me to get me out of here.
Yeah, yeah. And then what about the future? Do you see any changes for you personally down the road? Anything you're embracing or doing different, or is it kind of just consistency?
I've looked at, and I'm now working hard towards scaling my business. There's only so many things one person can do in a day. And so I've taken on a business development coordinator and underneath me who is really just a young go-getter that really wants to grow in this business. And interestingly enough, the barriers to entry are low in the mortgage space, but not a lot of people are getting into the mortgage space.
Right.
So, with her, I see a dynamic individual who can learn the opportunity and really have a huge opportunity upside for her down the road. But meanwhile, she's helping me grow my business and learning it, as she goes.
That's great.
The company I work for definitely allows that kind of support. And gives you platforms of which to allow you to continue growing, whether you're adding on a marketing assistant, whether you're adding on a production manager, different levels that allow you to continue building and growing out your business.
Yeah, great insight. Very interesting industry. When you and I could talk forever about this, and want to thank everybody for being here. And Sean, I'd like to have you back and continue this discussion. Thanks for coming on board. And anything you want to say signing off here?
Yeah, I mean, it's a incredible time. Actually, if you don't mind, I want to just add one item that's interesting for the industry. A lot of things that people don't even know and haven't heard about is the appraisal component of the lending world. There are fewer and fewer appraisers in this space.
Oh, yeah.
And that's caused a ripple effect in the lending industry that, it's something that needs to get fixed. And obviously they're above my pay grade as far as helping make that happen. But it's just from an education standpoint, people want to refinance and the appraiser takes a couple of weeks to get out to their property. Or the cost of the appraisal report is more than doubled, and it's just a supply and demand issue.
Right.
That there are very few people getting into the appraisal piece of the business, and that's something that's definitely needs to be addressed long term for the overall health and wellness, because every single lender has to have an appraisal, almost every single file, not all of them, because sometimes you get a waiver, but almost every file needs an appraisal report. And that piece of that production line has definitely been challenged lately.
That's interesting. I mean, that's kind of a call to any people who are looking for a career almost, is the appraisal business. I mean, I don't know much about it, but yeah, interesting comment.
Yeah, I mean, I think that in my own personal viewpoint, the young folks coming out of college are saying, "Oh, I'm going to get in the software business or the medical business and make $100,000 right out of college." and appraisers have to spend, they deem that you need to have a bachelor's degree, and they deem that you have to have 2,000 hours of service before you become an appraiser. So that barrier of entry needs to be addressed. Because they're making $500, $600, $700, $800 a file, but you start doing the math. If you're doing a couple inspections a day, 5 days a week, you can make some good money doing this. And especially as you've got a lot of appraisers that are aging out and want to retire. The supply of new loans is always going to be there for those folks down the road.
Great. Yeah, good insight. Well, thank you, Sean, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Well, thank you. Nice to see you.
Yeah.
Bye now.